Good afternoon, Speed Gaming fans, and welcome back to the Super Metroid Randomizer Mystery Tournament 2024. Here in the final week, we have a pivotal 2 and 3 matchup. Winner will make the bracket stage, and the loser will be eliminated. On the left, we have AceZer0. On the right, we have derxu. My name is DJ Webb, and joining me in the commentary booth is the one and only Sloters27. How you doing?
What an intro. Thanks, DJ. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Very happy to be joined by you in the commentary booth today. We should have a very exciting match on our hands, and I hope that the runners can give us a show. And like I said, they are fighting for their lives here. A little bit of a surprise given the seeding and status of these two runners, but this tournament has been full of surprises and full of difficulties, so we'll see which runner can live to fight another day.
That's right. I learned about 5 minutes ago this was a 2-3 matchup, to which I was surprised. These are two very strong runners. It's going to be sad to see one of them lose here today, but hopefully it's a good match.
Yes, indeed. And we are off here at a little bit of a late start with some technical issues, but thankfully everything seems to be going well right now as we have a little bit of a non-sync start, but we are in the mystery tournament where the parameters of the seed are unknown to the runners and they have to figure it out as they go. We start out here with a little bit of knowledge. The item split, which can be one of three things, is not full countdown. There is nothing in the HUD. And we also have one of two forms of starter charge beam. So we can already charge our beam, but it is not very powerful. Gonna have to find some beam upgrades to augment that damage.
And looks like we're going to get a little sync up here.
Yep. derxu
Perfect.
taking an absolutely massive lead with that moonfall.
And there's our morph ball as our first item. So I don't think we have any additional information then on the item split.
That's right. You typically expect to see the ceiling E-Tank item be what gives you your information. Even a major minor, it's at least 50% likely that you're going to get vanilla morph, so hopefully we'll get something that tells us definitively what's going on. Otherwise, the seed can it's going to hold its secrets for a decently long time, depending on how the items end up. There is the secrets of the seed. We have an E-Tank technically not telling us what's going on regarding major minor or Chozo area split, but it is more likely to be major minor, given that for Chozo, the E-Tanks that are not part of the Chozo pool can be anywhere. There's only 13 of them in 75 locations. And being exactly there would just be kind of funny. But it did happen, I believe, this morning, actually, in one of the two races. So we'll just have to see.
So kind of nice that we found two super packs down here. Off to a good start with ammunition, but without that power bomb, not going to be able to check the blue Brinstar door on the left there. So we'll have to wait a bit to confirm if we have a vanilla map or not.
That is correct. With the parameters that could be randomized among those, I talked about the item split and the charge beam. We've also got either vanilla map or area randomization. We have 4 different boss modes. We have different ammo splits, and we have some additional dash items that can be in the seed. There's also gravity heat protection, which I usually forget to mention because, frankly, I forget about it half the time. But those are the things that you get to discover as you move through the seed, as Ace is taking a bit of a lead here. They are into the Bomb Chorizo area. This is going to be either a major item or a Chozo item, regardless. So, unless it's power bombs, which it is, it was somewhat unlikely to tell us what's going on, but we do get Chozo confirmed.
Now our runners will have a choice here. They can head left, which has a item at Terminator. But they're going to come down here first and get this Chozo item now that it's been confirmed. But they can go left here. There's another item pickup at Terminator, not a Chozo location, but potentially 2 portals if it's not a vanilla map. Otherwise, it'll take us to Green Brinstar, which is pretty dense with items. Or they could bank on it maybe being an area randomization and go to the right side and explore the portal down there, but that's kind of a gamble, I would think.
Quite the gamble if it does end up vanilla map, skipping on only the very lucrative area that is Green Brinstar. But it has happened in this tournament, and that runner did win the race, so not going to be seeing that today, but got all kinds of choices here, even at this early juncture. As we see what the seed decides to give our runners here. Another missile pack, or not another, the first missile pack. Now you can menu to your ammo in a more normal way.
And look at that, we do have some area randomization. Finding the left side of Wreck Ship near Terminator.
Yes, indeed. Ace is going to show us this item pickup, and that's a nice power bomb find. This is one of those miners that I usually like to disregard because, especially without gravity, it takes quite a bit to get to it, but that's a really nice second power bomb here in this early moment, and derxu is going through to check this boss out. The odds that you can kill it are pretty good, but there are definitely cases where this is not the best use of time.
Yeah, you know, Crate is pretty easy. Fantoon with only 5 missiles, it's doable, but it's going to be kind of a slow fight no matter how you approach it, and also somewhat dangerous with only 2 E-tanks, so we'll see if it comes to that, but like you said, at least 2 of the bosses are for sure beatable.
Yes, and depending on how the boss mode is, we may or may not see the wreck ship turn on, even if the boss is killable. For example, if we find a crate here. But Ace dipped out a wreck ship, showed us the left side criteria portal. At the Kagos, we find the minor location charge upgrade, confirming starter plus here in Chozo. But we found Business Center and also Red Brinstar, as this is a vanilla Fantoon. derxu is going to open up this wreck ship and get some items potentially checked here at this early juncture.
Oh, and screw attack at the high jump, Chozo. Not a bad kind of OP safety item to get at the start. That'll make plowing through enemies pretty easy.
Especially if Ace decides to pop into this early Fantoon fight. Screw attack pretty much negates all of the danger of the fight as long as you are careful regarding body hits, especially with only 5 missiles max that derxu has. The fight is not easy, and it probably also is going to take a while. And yeah, didn't have any current missiles, so had to shoot out those flames and then wait for Fantoon to leave to get the drops. This fight is dragging on a bit, but derxu does look to be handling it in a safe enough way that I'm not worried about death.
All right, very nicely done by derxu, getting out relatively unscathed. So I guess we'll... Oh, wow, and there's Barrier Suit at the Ice Chozo.
That is a very, very nice early find here for Ace. We do have one tank at a Chozo location found at the 230, but technically this is not yet in logic. However, especially with E-tanks, you're usually pretty comfortable to just kind of disregard some of that early logic, especially for the Ice Beam home run. If you can do that, you usually are good to just go, as well as we have we've got 2 easy Chozos in Red Tower. We've also got some Chozos here in the wreck ship, so very likely there's an E-tank sitting here somewhere to give us our logical look at that. But we've got a wave beam here, first item of wreck ship. Not a bad find at all.
All right, we'll get another Chozo check here at Red Tower. And wow, Ace is just finding everything right now, getting speed booster.
This is looking a little bit like Ace's previous matchup. However, they were on the side of the person not getting all of the best items right away. So I'm sure they're happy about how things are turning out right now. Very early speed. We've already got 15 power bombs. You've got one of the charge upgrades. Things are looking pretty good here. We'll see what this elevator portal takes us to, more than likely. And also an interesting point, Ace could decide to, with that various suit, now backtrack to the wreck ship derxu's in. It is the case that you still really don't want to find Ridley, but it would technically be doable. It would take forever, though.
Oh, a nice sponge bath from derxu.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
derxu will have to be very careful in spiky death room with no movement items, no suits, and not that much energy. K going through. One of those spikes would be instant death, so nice work getting through there.
Yes. And here is wreck ship E-Tank, second of 3 Chozo locations here in the wreck ship. See if we can find something good here. And it's a grapple beam. That's pretty good still. And immediately put to use.
Now the question here for derxu is he going to be checking the top of wreck ship? In Chozo, there's only one item up there. It's still locked behind the bowling area. But you know, a lot of people will skip the top even when there's 2 items, like in major minor. So, you know, not super incentivized for that super long check for one item, but we'll see how he's feeling about it.
Yeah. At a very early moment in the seed, it feels like there's so much in front of you that you could feel a little bit safe skipping this, but derxu is going to go ahead, get all 3 here, especially with already finding the wave beam, which with starter charge is always going to have at least some value, and the grapple beam going to have value as well. If bosses are randomized, that's your Dragon get out of jail card, and it also unlocks the X-ray scope, which we just saw Ace not elect to do. Found an E-Tank here at SpeedRun. So I'd be pretty satisfied with this haul, but this is definitely a fine play. You do make the early decision to check this wreck ship, so gonna take all the fruit that it has to bear for us, and hopefully we're gonna get a little bit more health. But we do have that grapple. That's another way that it is helpful. You are in no danger of, well, you're not in no danger, but if you grapple successfully, you are going to be fine in the hallway of bowling. Ace has explored the bottom of Red Tower, found a croc, which they decided to not do at this point, and the single chain reporter here on the right side of Business Center. Gonna go ahead and check wave and most likely speed as well.
And just another energy tank for Ace. So here is the moment of truth for derxu to see if this full wreck ship clear is going to be worth it. Honestly, at this point, I think it kind of needs to be gravity to make this worth the time, but let's hope it's something good.
Yes, it is still early, and there are decisions to be made from here. But yeah, like you said, with already having found both Varia and Speed, there are not a ton of items that are gonna be good for time here, and it is the worst
Ooh.
option, the vanilla missile. That's gonna hurt, especially once variant speed are collected in quite short order, I expect.
Yo, let's go. Ace finding Spring Ball at the Speed Booster Chozo.
A nice energy refill there for derxu. So we'll see where Ace goes. Because of the way that the portal ordering happened, did isolate a little bit the tube check in Red Tower, but also here in Upper North where you've got the Croc Dory and the Chronic Boost, so potentially a little bit awkward here to figure out which portals you want to check in what order. But unless you isolate Kraid or Turian, typically you'll be alright, as that is a super that I think Ace probably wants in general. But not picking it up.
Okay, so derxu looking like he was thinking for a moment, decides to come check the Red Tower. Chozo first, which will be a good call because I believe this is where we got our speed booster at, so that'll speed him up.
Yes, indeed. As we find bottom of West Meridian there, Chronic. It's also the case that if derxu, after finding Variant, just wants to go into the rest of Upper North here, it was the single chamber that got back into Red Tower. Probably a little bit better to do it the way Ace did and come down Red Tower, get a little bit more information that way, but it's mostly the thing about that is that you pass by X-ray check in a convenient way, but we'll see what derxu elects to do. There's also the outside chance that he doesn't return to Business Center, and that would be a little disastrous with the location of the various suit.
Yeah, that grapple makes going to X-ray a bit more incentivizing, I think, but I think either option from derxu's perspective is pretty reasonable.
Yep, as Ace finds the motherload of items here in most area seeds. Green Burn Star from the bottom, we've got a super here in the Green Hill Zone. Portal here, and then there's 3 more Chozo items along with a host of non-major locations, which can help bolster your current placement. As there's the Bacalor Norfair, which probably in general you would like to do there, but kinda can't without a reasonable way to escape Dragon. Especially with no boss information from Ace's perspective.
Oh, nice. There's Ice Beam.
Yes, indeed. We've got Ice and Spring on Ace's side. derxu has found the Grapple Beam. The suitless loadout is getting pretty nice. We are going to see this X-ray check here from derxu. I always find it funny when people have grapple or space or the easy ways to get over here and they still enter with the early X-ray setup. Probably, at least at the beginning with grapple, you're not losing much time to doing it, as there is the other missile. That is just cruel on derxu's side. And gravity, the complete opposite of cruel on Ace's side.
Yeah, this is pretty unfortunate for derxu, who's done quite a number of kind of out of the way checks. Ace not going to go to any of those at this point, I don't think. Already has the starter charge, has ice speed, both suits. Ace can move pretty comfortably through the game right now.
Yes, indeed. And derxu, without currently stepping in the Bubble Mountain, or not Bubble Mountain, Business Center, somehow I always say the wrong one of those two, doesn't yet have the various suit. More than likely, with the way these portals work, depending on where Tube goes, I expect he'll get back up there, just in a slightly less efficient way, pathing-wise. But he could do Bubble Mountain first. That'd be a little unfortunate, as we've now found all of the Chozo tanks with the reserve here at its vanilla location. We've got quite the healthy Chozo seed here. Can sometimes be very, very stingy from the energy perspective. These Chozo seeds, as derxu unfortunately does a little bit of a movement adjustment right when the power bomb explodes, so didn't get the initial gravity jump. You can still get up there, but it's a little bit more difficult.
Oh man, it looks like derxu is gonna try the croc fight here, which, as we know, can't really have anything that great. Maybe plasma or high jump, but yeah.
Unfortunately, that's sometimes how these things go. You make one zig when your opponent zags, and everything good is in the other direction. And you just kind of feel bad a little bit, as there is the outstanding portal that Ace did not do in Red Tower. Finds it at the top of Green Bryn. I think you do want to go back to Lower Norfair from there. Maybe. It's also pretty unfortunate that derxu missed that. Could have just ended up in Green Bryn and at least found gravity in a good time. But we are seeing Crockmire in there. Ace does decide to go back down. This makes a lot of sense. You can do Lower Norfair. Probably you back to back, and you hope that the front is not specifically Kraid's layer or anything else will be okay. But we're going back up the elevator. Indecisive. Or an input error. We'll see.
Someone call Kotaku for that one.
Now there's a deep reference that 3 people in chat are gonna get.
Yeah, I've lost the entire audience with that one, but that's okay.
So it looks like Ace is going back here. This is back into Upper Norfair. I think this seems like a pretty okay play. Probably gonna be looking at the West Meridia portals via Chronic Boost. And that'll give us a more thorough view of how this map looks at this point. We have several outstanding portals between Kraid and Turian are dead ends, 2 in Criteria, 3 in West Meridia, and 1 of each sides of the other boss areas. So how is derxu finding all of the ammo?
Yeah,
in
this
the
is
worst
so
places. The worst places. Bowling, X-ray, Croc. Like, you couldn't write a worse way to find all of the ammo in a Chozo seed. You really just couldn't. So
Nice gravity jump from Ace.
Gonna be getting out of here. And the seed is more than likely going to force derxu to find at least one of the suits for now. We'll see if he can, or we'll see if he tries that gravity jump into the tube portal, and that would lead him into Green Bird in the gravity suit. And that would also, as we find Turian here, that's a nice find, would also be the case that Green Bird Star at the other end would put him in Upper Norfair, which is where that other suit is. So proximity-wise, the suits are actually pretty close, and unfortunately for derxu, he has just left them by the wayside for now. But see how he feels about this single chamber. His current health is good enough to do these item checks, but for now, at least he's going to say no. Or not.
Poor derxu coming in from the wrong side of Upper Norfair. May be enticed into these hell runs, not knowing Varia's just on the other side in Business Center.
You did have to use a hell run to get to that Varia, but it is the short and easy one, not the longer ones from Speed and Wave, although with the speed booster speed, really not too much of an issue, as Ace found the back of East Meridia there at Pre-Aqueduct, and is going to be checking out this portal here at the top. This is a nice refill here at Wave, though. It was definitely gearing up for a Crystal Flash before finding that nicely placed E-Tank.
And there's the back of Rex ship for Ace. And gonna go through and fight the boss. Certainly able to tackle any of the bosses at this point, so not a bad time to dip back in.
Yep. Quite the fruitful West Meridia trip, finding Turian and getting 2 of your extraneous boss areas cleaned up. And yeah, this is a pretty convenient way to get back to the wreck ship. Probably not gonna get that grapple beam. Lave is a little bit more likely, but still not necessarily guaranteed here. But especially with the current loadout, grapple, while nice, not the most valuable item. Shooting that door and getting the jump through, I am impressed. I get stopped by that door way more often than I would like. It's a little bit of a jerk sometimes. See how Ace can handle this fight with Fantune. Is definitely trying to be a little bit higher on resources given the complete lack of boss information. It is certainly possible that this could be any of the 4 bosses to their mind, but as it stands, it is Fantune, the boss you probably most like to see here, because you don't really have to worry. Well, in some ways it's good, in some ways Fantune is the boss without an item directly behind it, and it doesn't actually give you additional information, but it's fine. As prepared for the fast, but not expecting the fast. Shot the eye and didn't hit it with a missile. Another fast here. Very kind ghost so far. Can we get a third? Probably not. derxu did take the speedway over to the cool side of Upper North Fair, the business center. And it's gonna find this charge beam, the item at high jump, which has escaped my mind. It might be ice beam. No, it's screw attack.
Screw attack, yeah, that's right.
And then Very is at ice beam. Where was ice? Probably in Green Brimstar. That seems likely.
Yeah, I think it was at charge, I want to say.
Yeah. So, see what Ace decides to do here. I think the extent of my expectations are right side super, but even that might be skipped here. Probably you feel pretty good about your route, but it's also not the hardest route to take, so you could definitely want to be zooming to the end. But this wave is definitely going to be a positive, especially given the current ammo that Ace has.
And now with 1 starter charge and ice and wave, it's not a terrible beam combo. It's still pretty lengthy fights, but Ace is sitting pretty comfy now.
Yep. Especially with the rather limited selection of the Chozo pool, you can typically find beams in a somewhat good way. Obviously, in a seed this fast with the number of skips you are likely to make, you definitely can't expect to find, especially plasma, but we're also looking for the other charge upgrade, and the spacer would still be nice. But like I said, the beam isn't terrible. It's the same damage you would have with vanilla charge spacer, which would be 150 shots on Mother Brain / Ridley with no excess ammo. But we do have some of that excess ammo gonna supplement, especially on the Ridley fight. And there are plenty of checks along the way that are decently fast as far as miners, as derxu is going to end up here in Green Brinstar. That'll lead him to both ice and gravity. And he'll be on his merry way, but quite a bit behind Ace positionally. Our esteemed tracker, Jestrozux, in the chat pointed out that the most likely outcome from here at the right side of criteria is front of Lower Norfair, which is what this is, and Kraid at the moat, which is how it's going to be. So this will be pretty nice. The Lower Norfair trip from front to back is a little bit less optimal than back to back. However, given the lack of portal information, doing it in this way definitely seems like it was a good decision. And I think, yeah, where this puts them will spit them out. If they go front to back, you get to Green Britain, and then you can take that to Red Tower and do East Meridia, and be well on your way to what is going to be a pretty fast seed.
You know, it was unfortunate earlier, derxu trying to check the transition at the tube and wasn't able to, but if he had, he would have known that was the top of Green Bryn, and he could comfortably just turn around right here and go into Lower Norfair. But he may feel like he wants to go check that portal now.
Yeah,
and looks like he's going to leave it, which is a good move.
Especially with how things have gone so far, and especially Ace feeling similarly at that point of the seed. There is so much outstanding map information. I actually think probably pretty good play for derxu would be just back to back this and then continue through Green Bryn Star and figure things out from there as far as the map. As Kraid has stood up to dance at the party we're hosting here on SpeedGaming today. Ace with the quick cleanup there on the fight. And 2 out of 2 vanilla bosses so far. Still have a chance for any of them to show up, as there is that space that I was talking about. You can typically run into those beams pretty conveniently here in Chozo. So 200 damage beam. It's a pretty good place to be. Plasma decides to shield its face. It will triple our damage, but I think probably get a few more supers especially, and you'd be real comfy on this.
Did we see the front of East Meridia yet?
Yep, red elevator, the top of Red Bryn goes to
okay,
east.
that's right.
And yes, the most important factor Beamer is pointing out in chat, 200 is easy math on the bosses. No need to do any complicated stuff. Just 90 shots for Mother Brain 2 and for Ridley. derxu is going to be showing us Lower Norfair. Ace looks to be heading back across this criteria. Decides not to do the front to back Lower Norfair play I was talking about. Probably going to end up doing East Meridia first and then back to back Lower Norfair, I think, with the left side of criteria having a little pit stop from Norfair before we end up in Red Tower. This will definitely work as well. I don't necessarily know if one path was too much different from the other timing wise. As derxu actually does have 30 supers, so this probably fight as it is gonna go very quickly. Like a very well done Ridley fight here. Just gonna bounce up into the claw of Ridley, and he explodes, no longer wishing to do battle. Ooh, and a nice prize. There are the high jump boots.
Ooh, nice kill by Ace.
Super only one round. Definitely not too easy, but handled that pattern extremely well. And said, Botwin's hitbox, you don't scare me. Ace is going to show us if we have surprise bosses on or if this is the expected Dragon fight here in East Meridia. With Speed Booster, definitely going to be the quickest method of killing this Dragon, and plenty of health, as well as both suits. And a nice super find here at Precious. derxu looks to be going out the front here with this save. That's going to be some pretty nice routing, finding that right side of Crateria and getting the crate immediately. Actually seems to me like this in-game routing might be paying off in a pretty big way if he can get through here successfully, then kill the Kraid boss, and then if you front to back East Meridia, you actually end up right by Turian. But Ace has quite the positional lead from here, being already into boss number 3, getting these nice short charges and some good Shine Spark damage. Dragon should be very close to dead. There she goes.
Yeah, honestly, I like a lot how this is routing out for derxu. It's unfortunate the path he had to take to be in this position, but grabbing the high jump boots too from Ridley, that's going to chip away some time slowly against Ace. But yeah, Ace is just pretty close to finishing this off. But it's interesting seeing them both taking such different paths like that.
Yeah. Especially for derxu, he has so much less portal information. I'm pretty sure Ace is actually complete already at this point. The ability to find Turian conveniently is going to be in his way, and it'll be very nice. But it's always going to be, you know, some lingering thoughts. Did I leave it at Tube? Did I leave it at Greenburn Elevator? Those two connect to each other. Especially that Bacharach ship, which you wouldn't feel bad about, but it would be, you know, probably your worst outcome if that was Turian. But
yeah.
no such issues here. It's conveniently located, especially for derxu's route. And also being in West Meridia, an area with 4 portals, you can typically find your way in there pretty nicely. Yeah, it actually is. The pathing to Lower Norfair and then back to Turian, it's a little bit much, but again, I do think Ace has enough of a lead that this is largely it's not enough of a difference, but I do actually think we're pretty close still, even with those long checks derxu made. We're gonna have to see.
Yeah, I think it feels. I think it's actually a lot closer than it feels.
Sure, especially with that spacer pickup now, they're on beam parity. derxu does have an additional missile and an additional super. Those are factors that matter here. Also the case Ace doesn't have that beautiful farm beam that derxu picked up, so definitely going to be expecting a Ridley here. And I was thinking maybe you farm there. There's Lower Norfair farm bugs, which gives you pretty good super drops, but not the most convenient to farm with the current item set that Ace has. There's also some Cax here along the way in Green Burn Star. Have to see how they elect to farm up these supers. Definitely by far the best way to deal damage to Ridley. Uh-oh. I don't think you can reverse link it without high jump, but looked like there was some kind of setup attempt in at least a funny way.
We love that.
Even if you're not gonna go for the cool stuff, you gotta make it look like you are. Give the viewer some pizzazz out here in speed gaming land. Yeah, missile there. So, yeah, derxu now doing the pathing to East Meridia that Ace showed us earlier, and it's going to quickly be there. Yeah, this is... I really don't... Like, this feels like it's within a minute right now, honestly. Well, oh no, I was wrong. I was really wrong. This isn't too terrible, honestly, because back of Rec Shift is also in the same area as back of East, but back of East is a lot worse than front of East. This is a very interesting decision here. Especially when the East Meridia is your last boss area. Makes a lot more sense to me to just go there, and then if you want to check the back of a boss area, make it the one you haven't already killed the boss of.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe the thought is like, make sure, find out if this is Torian, or like make sure it isn't Torian if you're gonna like commit to go in the back of East, but it'll work out for him, but yeah, it'll just be a bit slower than coming in from the front. Yeah, derxu was definitely in the area. I don't remember if he actually went up the elevator actually though.
Yeah,
I remember he stopped in and grabbed speed, and then he might have just kept going through because he had grapple to do X-ray. I don't really remember.
Yeah, that is very much a possibility, given trying to watch two runners at once. Can't necessarily say for 100% certainty that derxu saw it, but it makes the most sense that he would have seen it, given the very isolated nature of that portal if you do in fact leave it. But he does actually have a few of those outstanding with the tube to top of Green Brinstar connection not seen from either side. And yeah, it does make sense given how he will likely be feeling about especially the wreck ship checks that he made, wanting to do things in a speedy way as well as probably a little bit less standard than you probably expect your opponent will have done. This is definitely in the realm of doable, and yeah, it's just a little unfortunate with how this could have played out versus what we were thinking. Yeah, and if you don't go in the back there, that to me says that you don't know where the front is, probably. Although again, without knowing Turian, that's kind of a good position if you just find the back, do it, go to the front, and that's Turian, and you just ended it really well. But yeah, Ace is doing all this farming, expecting the Ridley. Like I said, without the grapple beam, you pretty much have to farm like this. You can jump over them and shoot down, but if you mess that up, you really get off rhythm. And if you get off rhythm with this farm without the grapple beam, it can be a little unfortunate. But yeah, finding Turian with that reset did take the save above Pre-Aqueduct. I expect now we're just going to back-to-back this East Meridia. We'll see how Ace handles the end of this fight. They had 25 troopers going in. Just charge shots would be 30 of them. No, wait, hold on. 3,000... 15. I don't know why I said 30. But it did have some missiles to supplement, take away about half of that damage. And we'll see if they also check behind and get rewarded with those high jump boots. The last boss is always a little bit less likely just because even the best item you could get isn't going to save as much time because of how little of the run you have left, but both Plasma and High Jump are really good here. So Space Jump's also probably pretty good. Well, much less good actually, but yeah. We do get the check. Nice High Jump boots, gonna be comfy for the rest of the seed, and this seems to make their way to Turian probably a little less than 10 minutes out from finishing the seed, I think. Gonna be a pretty nice time. I somehow find a way to, every time I'm in a commentary, I try to estimate the time remaining and then say I'm bad at it and then be wrong always. So always a chance to get better though, right? That's what you do in life. You try things, and if you don't succeed, you better yourself for the next time.
That's right.
Nice speedball out of here. We're going to see very, very comfortable and standard speedrun movement here coming out. You've got basically everything you could ever want. The space jump not in hand, but high jump speed, screw. Spring ball for the fun and cool strats. And going to be very quickly out of here. derxu in Meridia has killed Botswoon. Only one current super. You do need at least one. You'd probably prefer two, one for the green door and one for the eye door. There is that second one. And with grapple, that's pretty much all you need, but you're going to do a little bit of farming here. There is the off chance of a surprise second Ridley that you may want to be preparing for. It is pretty low odds. Typically from this place of seed knowledge, you have a 13 out of 16 chance of finding the vanilla boss and a 1 in 16 for each of the other three. So you can definitely hedge against a surprise seed, and specifically the second Ridley. But derxu looks to be not taking that chance. Wants all of his supers. And as you can see, Slaughter's the low ice veteran that you are. I'm sure you're used to sitting here and not getting what you want.
Yeah.
However, going to be able to get a full halfie attempt having pick up high jump before coming into East Meridia. See if derxu can get it. That looked pretty nice on the climb.
Yep. Oh, goop sparks. Unfortunate.
Yeah, we're gonna be entering Turian under the 47 minute mark. I may have even been overestimating on my time from Ellen to Turian. The MB fight is going to be a little bit longer than some fights, but like we said, 200 is a very, very passable beam. You're never going to be upset at this amount of damage. Yeah, Ace really blazed through this one, really found the critical path without too much issue, where derxu had a little bit of longer checks and not go his way. And by not go his way, I mean like in the worst way possible. All the ammo was found at the worst possible places.
Alright, derxu should need one more spark. Yep, that's good. Has a blue suit. Doesn't look like he'll convert, so he'll gravity jump out of here.
Yes, very nicely done. The ways to keep it that would be the gravity jump. You cannot hold dash and move, otherwise you'll blow the blue suit. And I guess technically you could probably grapple jump out with gravity suit. That would be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But we're gonna get this reverse spark here in Coliseum. Very nicely done. Yeah, with this
And
pathing,
Ace. Oh, go ahead.
I agree with you. Let's look at this baby skip, which looks to be completed successfully. I was just gonna say, with this pathing, I think derxu is going to be getting to Turian at some point during this Mother Brain fight. I don't think it'll quite be over, but yeah, even with the top right ship check, the Crocomire check, the extraneous X-ray check that Ace didn't do, making a very close race out of this. Nicely done. He's flexing on all of us with that down back skip. I need to turn off that screw attack.
All right, so was it 90 shots and a decent chunk of super, so won't be the longest fight in the world, but not a walk in the park either.
I think 73 charge shots is the number needed, assuming you hit all supers and all but one missile. Which is longer than you would see in an 80% new route, but like you said, that's really not too terrible. Especially when you're in a Chozo seat and things start running pretty quickly, the somewhat longer than average Mother Brain fight really doesn't bother you. Yeah, here is derxu, like I said, going to be here in Turian right around the 15-minute mark. This is, like I said, quite the quick seed that our runners have run today, and he's just a little bit faster getting to those suits, and definitely picked up some extra portal information that derxu didn't end up needing, but allowed them to pass through this one confidently and get the job done. Here we are closing in. I haven't been counting, but probably we're in the 40s, I would think. Oh, I was way off. We're looking to be already done. Maybe? Uh-oh.
Ace taking some catch up there, but luckily, oh my goodness. Still
the
has
first one did
over
double
301.
hit. Oh my, I can tell the good people of SpeedGaming. I was doing a practice seed the other day, and I took a triple hit from a simpler spot from Ace, and I just died with a save that was prior to killing any of the 4 bosses, and I felt really terrible, but luckily it was practice. That would have been quite the catastrophic end to this one, but only a double. Ace is saved.
I appreciate Ace keeping it interesting for us still, but fortunately they make it through, and you know, barring some catastrophic disaster on Mother Brain 3 or the escape, it looks like Ace should take this one. Oh, derxu. Oh man.
Had a beautiful Stachio skip without the bombs to manipulate the baby, but just barely got grabbed at the very end. Gonna have to see a save and reset to get rid of this baby slow, which thankfully is not going to be a determining factor in this race. Having some fun in chat with the near disaster that was escaped by Ace. But the baby Metroid has been slain by Mother Brain, and its last dying wish affords us the Rainbow Beam, and now we're just gonna help this sentient alien computer being nemesis. Sure, I could come up with 3 more words to describe it that are also nonsensical, as Ace is taking care of Mother Brain 3. derxu also tried off that down back skip, but did have the screw attack already off. Goes with the more traditional spin jump method on the second try. And as one Mother Brain fight ends, another begins. Ace incurs the final time loss of the random moonfall here in the Leodoc's room, but we're gonna spark up here and quickly be done with this one. Sub 55 if you don't have the worst Steam look of anyone ever. Very, very nice time. It was actually way closer to 55 than I thought, but I do think Ace is gonna get it. This team is trying to have words with me. Nay, nay, I say.
And there you have it. AceZer0 finishing on the ship with an official time of 55 minutes flat. GG to Ace. Very nice victory here today.
Nicely done, and by the skin of their teeth qualifying for that bracket stage. Coming in at a very high and nice 9 seed, had an upset in round 1, and then some other struggles here in the past couple of weeks with their opponents running extremely good routes, somewhat akin to how Ace did this seed. But in there, by hook or by crook, everyone's got a chance in the bracket stage to make it through as far as you so desire, as derxu has made it to the final phase of Mother Brain. We'll see if our runners hopefully decide to join us in here for the interview, as there is our winner, AceZer0. Hopefully derxu will also join us soon if he so desires, but GG to you.
Thanks. GG's to derxu. That was a fairly generous seed, I think. I had a lot of trouble with the map, but like otherwise everything was really smooth. I think I got really lucky and routed well early, and that kind of carried me through the back half of the seed where I was a little bit less sure of where to go or like what the fastest paths were.
Yep, derxu also joining us. As I'm sure most people in chat to know, we are running on 10-minute delay, so derxu is not currently fighting Mother Brain. This happened 10 minutes ago, but GG's derxu.
Yeah, thank you. GG Ace.
Yeah, GG's.
Yeah, this one was interesting right away with derxu electing to not only check that wreck ship boss early, but also do all 3 items. How are you feeling from that point on, derxu?
I mean, I think following up, like doing red chip early, I played really okay, like very reasonable, I guess. I just like followed the path I thought was logical. But yeah, I ended up in a very weird situation in the end where like West Meridia was completely open. Like I had no transition there left, and like every other area had like one isolated location left. So it was like really weird to play, and I ended up like after lower Norfair. I thought, well, I have Dragon left, and then that Dragon location, I wasn't not sure if it was 100% vanilla bosses, but I don't know if it could have been surprised, but whatever. And like, yeah, I just had to check that stuff. Like, I just hope West Meridia had like Turian, and yeah, wanted to like check those transitions as fast as possible.
Yeah, I was a little surprised you went through wreck ship when you did. It seemed like East Meridia, which we weren't sure if you had seen the front, but I think you had.
Yeah,
but,
I did.
yeah.
I did. Yeah, I knew where East Meridia was. I wasn't sure like what the shortest path was, like probably criteria down through Red Brinstar or something like that. or just like go through Red Chip and here check West Meridia and find the East Meridia transition from there. That was my go-to, and I just hope to find Toria on the way.
Definitely fair. I was really hopeful you were going to get that blue bomber in there. But yeah, Ace,
Yeah.
you without that early wreck ship, you just kind of ran into both of the suits, and then you really, like you said, the map was, the information was kind of stingy. You had to collect a lot of it before you ended up finding the rest of the boss areas and completing the seed.
Yeah, I mean the wreck ship play, like it seemed too risky and slow. Like I think I was out of missiles and only had either 1 or 2 missile packs. Like, so it's like even if it's Fantoon, like that fight's gonna suck. Like I have to
Fantoon with
rely on
that sucks.
flames, and yeah, so I was like, that's not gonna be worth it. I don't have good movement to like get through Sponge Bath, and like I don't have getting all the way through bowling. Like it's just so slow. So it's like there's enough things left to check that I'll probably hit it later, and luckily I did, and didn't impact anything. But yeah, I just like kind of felt like I was just like scooping up as much map info as possible. I was leaving like a lot of bosses behind, even like when I had the ability to go down to LN and do Ridley, and I was like, well, I can do all the bosses. I might not be back here anytime soon, but like maybe there's a faster path later, and there really wasn't, so that kind of hurt me, I think, not doing LN after getting Gravity. But I didn't want to like orphan the green elevator portal. I don't know. I'm sure everything I did, like when I was in go mode and just pushing through the bosses, was wrong, but it was fast enough, and I had paths that worked. So sometimes you got to just do that instead of questioning yourself. And
yeah, I thought front to back LN was better, and then you do East Meridia last.
I think so too. That's what I was gonna do, but I was like, I don't know. It's all the way through, like doing Kraid's Lair first there, because when I figured out that had to be on the right side, like that obviously made sense. I thought about doing like front to front LN, or like I don't know. I'm glad I saw that, because it was kind of a last second. I was like, do I just do LN here? I'm like back at Criterion. I was like, no, that has to be Kraid's Lair, so I have to do that. But I was gonna do that, and then I kind of like pivoted last second. I was like, oh, I can just cut through Upper Norfair instead, and then it was not really just a cut through the way that I thought it was gonna be.
Things always look different than like when you look at your like screen that has however you track, and then you actually run through it. It's like it seemed way different in my head, but yeah, still with a 55, very solid time.
Yeah, thanks. I almost threw at the end because I can't do math either. That was terrifying. Turns out that 3/4 and 2/3 are not the same. So my beam doing 2/3 of the damage of a super, I counted the wrong number. I was like, all right, 3/4 of the damage of the super, multiply, get how many shots you need, and then I just sat there and took the first double hit of the ketchup and then panicked.
That's rough.
Okay.
Yeah, I luckily had that 50 tank that I picked up and thought about, like, did I even need this when I picked it up? But I'm very glad I did.
Yes, you heeded my warnings of the triple hit ketchup and only taking a double.
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, GGT both. Ace, you have with this win qualified for the brackets. derxu, unfortunately, not gonna make the cut. You had a pretty nice start to this tournament, and then the pair up is never really what you prefer, and still some tough matchups all the way through. But I think still a pretty good showing. You are always fun to have around. Pop in here, be the top player every tournament for fun.
Well, maybe next time, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how people are just so good at this game. Like I
so
looked at the
many
matchups before the race because I was like, this has to be like, did I get paired up? Like I shouldn't be at the top of the 2-3s, but maybe. And I looked to see if I got paired up to derxu, and I was like, oh, how is derxu a 2-3 also?
I mean, there are a lot of good runners, right, nowadays.
Yeah.
Everyone is really, really popping off, and they're doing their work.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to take a win from you. That I don't know. I know our teams played in one of the league seasons, but I don't think we matched up specifically.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I thought so as well. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure, but yeah.
I know the European contingent, you all are pretty strong and rooting for each other. Nice to see a bunch of them I know have had a lot of success as well. But hopefully you'll be back with us for future tournaments, derxu, and
Yeah,
can
100%.
have some more success. And Ace joining us in the bracket phase. I know you and I have been. Seems like we've been close to matching up throughout the tournament. We almost had the same record every round until I finally separated. But we'll see how this bracket is going to be so crazy. Like I don't know that like any seed is really going to matter that much past like the first round.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I went into this like hoping and kind of assuming that I'd be able to make the bracket, but really wasn't expecting like a high seed there. But I'm just gonna hope to get like 1 or 2 wins and be real happy with how things end up at that point.
Yes, indeed. Thank you
Maybe
both.
we'll both make it deep and we'll get to race each other anyway, DJ. Even though we're both, I think 3-3s. Is that right?
Well, I still have to play, so
We
I'm
still gotta
hoping
play.
to get to
Okay, so
4
you
and
could be 4
2.
and 2. Yeah.
Yeah, me and I don't have to figure out a time, but yeah, we'll see how this all shakes out. Jestro, our Steam tracker, has given a shout out to our runners in the chat if you want to follow their streams and thank them for the performance put on, and also links to myself, Sloters, and Jestro in the chat. Sloters, once again, thank you for joining me. It was a blast, and I hope to see and hear more from you. Always good to have you around.
Of course. Thanks for doing this with me, DJ. Ace and derxu, thank you for the show. I think we had a lot of fun watching you two go through it and watch the seed unfold. So appreciate it. It was a really good showing from both of you.
Yeah, thank you for commentating and thanks for having us. And like Ace, thanks for racing. Good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. Thanks everyone for organizing that fun tournament. Like we really had a blast.
Yes, indeed. And for the rest of the night, we only have one race on the schedule. It is Lumion Jones versus Sunflower. Another one of those 2-3 decisive matchups. Ace will actually be on commentary for that one. We'll see if anyone is joining you, but that should be a fun one. And lots more on the schedule, especially tomorrow. Several, like 5-6 races. So lots more action coming at you. Thank you all for joining us here at the Super Metroid Randomizer Mystery Tournament. And until next time, we'll see you next mission.